Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. Didn't we pick a fantastic day for Nick today? Unbelievable. The rest of the nation is freezing, and we live in paradise. I've always said that. Good afternoon, and welcome to all of you for attending a ceremony that really has the potential of being a watershed moment in the history of Pueblo. This will become a historic moment in many ways. We have elected a mayor that will change the way our city is governed. We will have a face to our local government that will be acting on behalf of us. This change has the potential of changing Pueblo for many years to come. We will be able to react more quickly to opportunities in legislation, economic opportunities, and solving our problems. Working in concert with the City Council, we can take Pueblo to new heights and help our city look for new opportunities and solutions to many needs that we have. I'm extremely honored as president of City Council to have been asked by Nick to be part of this ceremony. I am Dennis Flores, and I thank you, Nick, for letting me be part of this ceremony. To all of you attending, thank you for being here. I'd like to introduce a few dignitaries. I'm not going to go through a long list, but I think it's important because they'll be working very closely with Nick. But before I do that, I wanted to kind of go off script. I want to talk about one person that I think made a difference in your campaign. And maybe she could have run for mayor and won. That's how much I think of her. A person that personifies Pueblo and was everywhere helping Nick win this race. Help me thank her, and as I affectionately call her, the First Lady, Nick's significant other, Jan Pullen. I do want to start with our representatives from City Council. I think most of them are here today. Ed Brown, Chris Nickel, Larry Atencio, Mark Aliff, Bob Schilling, and Ray Aguilera. Help me thank them for being here. Our county commissioners, Garrison Ortiz, Chris Wiseman, and Terry Hart. Thank you for being here. At this time, I would like to introduce Reverend Paul Abbott. Reverend Paul Abbott is the founding and senior pastor of Cedar Brook Community Church, a non-denominational church in Clarksburg, Maryland, suburbs of Washington, D.C. Abbott is the husband of Mayor-elect Gradishar's aunt, Sharon Fletcher Abbott. Paul and his wife grew up in Pueblo, graduated from Centennial High School. He attended Southern Colorado State College here in Pueblo, now known as CSU Pueblo. He is the senior pastor of Cedar Brook Community Church in Clarksburg, Maryland. We ask Reverend Abbott to bless these proceedings today. Reverend Abbott.
Would you pray with me?
Let's please stand.
Father in heaven, your word tells us those in positions of civil authority are your servants, God's servants, sent for our good. You know, Father, how disheartened we are that so often this is not in fact the case. You know far better than we how often our civil servants are neither civil nor servants. But today we are encouraged and grateful because we believe Mayor Nicholas Gradisar truly has been sent for our good. Surround him with wise advisors for the work ahead, women and men of integrity who will tell him what he needs to hear. Give him the courage to do the hard thing, the right thing, not the popular thing. Give him a vision for meeting the needs of this community, a vision for a new beginning. Then grant him the wisdom and creativity, the passion and diligence, the perseverance and the humility to make that vision a reality. This will not be easy. There will be obstacles and criticism. Help him not lose heart. Help him not lose heart. And now we hold before you Mayor Gradisar and the good work he embraces today. Make him the leader we need him to be, a servant leader, as you have called him to be. May his administration usher in a brighter future for this city we all love and call home. We pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Please remain standing. Sorry, wasn't quick enough. At this time, I would like to introduce the City of Pueblo Firefighter Color Guard for the presentation of the colors.
Color guard, forward, march. Colors left, march. Color bearers, forward, march. Prepare to post the colors. Ready? Post! Recover. Present. Hoop.
Please remain standing. We will now say the Pledge of Allegiance. We're honored to have Oscar Gradisar and Graylin Lignan.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's welcome the South High School Choir Ensemble singing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart hearts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Order. Move. Color guard. Order time. Move. Prepare to move. Move.
I would like to introduce a man that really doesn't need an introduction. He's Mr. Pueblo Water, really. But in any event, I'd like to introduce the chairman of Mayor Gradishar's Mayor Campaign Committee, Ellen Hamill.
Well, thank you, Dennis. It is great to see everybody. This certainly is a historic day, an historic event, and historic for Pueblo's future. And I'm just honored to be part of this and share the stage with our new mayor and Jan and the judge. I thought what I'd do for just a minute is go back in time, back to 2004, when Nick first came on the board. And early in that year, in a kind of a non-water moment discussion, Nick was, and we were probably talking in some form or another about economic development and the importance of water and that future for our quality of life. But he shared with me a thought and a vision. And his basis was that Pueblo was already slipping behind the rest of the Front Range. And that he thought a change in government with a full-time leader. We had dedicated city manager, dedicated city councilman, but that a full-time leader could make a difference. And then over the next 13 years, almost 14, that vision continued, and Nick, through that whole time, was reaching out to our community and gained many more Puebloans who shared that vision. And as everyone's aware, in November 2017, the voters in Pueblo voted to change the form of government. Shortly after that, I was talking with Nick, and he was considering going ahead and running for mayor, and if elected, would retire from his law firm and law practice to carry that vision to the next step, which now had a lot of believers. And I think he was the second to announce. City Council member, President City Council Steve Naraki actually announced in December. But 2018 was quite a year for Pueblo. There was a lot of interest, a lot of passionate Puebloans who wanted to be a part of that future. I think we got at the peak 35 people that registered city clerk to be part of that. Then by election time it narrowed to 16. After that election it was down to 2 in a runoff that we held this January. I think the important part was that we can't forget about all the debates, all the forums, and all the good things that were shared by all the candidates. And I'm sure Nick won't. He makes lots of notes, so. He also sends memos at 4:45 in the morning. So today, the next chapter begins. And we've seen to the north of us, Colorado Springs, their first mayor didn't work with city council. Their second did, and look what they're doing. Well, we have 7 very dedicated, and I think at times underappreciated city council members that are dedicated to Pueblo. But already, since the 22nd, see Bob Schilling out front, he gave a personal invitation to Nick on election night to join as a city council workshop. That happened last Monday. Other council members reached out, and Nick reached out to council members also. And having a new president council here is certainly special. And so I know they'll work closely together because that's what's going to be success. They're backed up by a group of city employees with strong leadership in there. They've worked because of the economy with some real challenges because of lack of resources, and we hope over time we can give them all the resources they need to do all the things we want. And of course, I think Monday morning, Nick will be meeting with the staff leadership team, and already reached out over the years to many. And so, but what this city needs, what the mayor needs, what council needs, city employees, is involvement by the citizens of Pueblo. All of you in this room, all those who have supported this change and new to move forward. Not only that, your input. That vision which started with Nick some 15 years ago, now shared by many Puebloans, will help us make this needed big step into the future on an era of collaboration and prosperity. I've been in Denver the last 2 days at a large, there were 600 water leaders from around the state, every corner, and they're working on implementing the Colorado Water Plan because Pueblo, or Colorado's population is expected to double in the next 30 years. With our new form of government and all of us working for it, we need to get our share of that growth in economic prosperity. I'm going to close here so we can hear from the mayor. First, we've got to get him sworn in. But and one of the speakers said something that really resonated with me, and it said, "The path to no is easy. The path to yes or success takes hard work and, importantly, patience." Let us work hard and have patience and be respectful. Now it's my honor to introduce the Chief Judge for the 10th Judicial District. We're really privileged to have the Honorable Judge Deborah Eiler. If she could rise, and then welcome our new mayor, Nick Gradisar.
All right, raise your right hand. Just repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Nicholas Gradisar,
Do swear by the everlasting God
do swear by the everlasting God
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado and the City of Pueblo,
and the laws of the State of Colorado and the City of Pueblo,
and will faithfully perform the duties
and will faithfully perform the duties
of the office of Mayor of the City of Pueblo,
of the office of Mayor of the City of Pueblo,
upon which I am about to enter,
upon which I am about to enter,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you all, and welcome to this historic event for the City of Pueblo and for me and my family. Let me begin by thanking City Council President Dennis Flores for emceeing today's program. I look forward to having a cordial and cooperative relationship with all of the City Council members, and I want to thank all the City Council members who are here today to start us off on this road. My thanks also to all the participants in the ceremony, to Judge Eiler and Alan Hamill, Paul Abbott, my grandson Oscar, and my great-granddaughter Graylyn Lennon. And thanks to all of you for being here today to help us usher in this new era for the City of Pueblo. I want to introduce some people that are in the audience. They don't need to stand up or anything, but I want you to know they're here because they're special in my life. I want to introduce my son Douglas and his wife Johanna, my daughter Tracy and her husband John, who are with us today. I'm so appreciative that my Aunt Sharon, Paul's wife, and were able to join us from Maryland. They came from just outside of Washington, D.C. to be with us here today. And also really happy that my mom's only living brother, Irvin Fletcher, who's 91 years old, is here with his wife, Joyce, and his daughters. They came from the Sand Hills in Nebraska to be with us today. And thanks to my cousins from Colorado and Nebraska for being with us today. See, as big as my family is, that's why we had to move from the little room we had planned because there wouldn't have been room for anybody else. But also want to acknowledge the presence of my dad's sister, Ann Lennon, who's with us today. And thanks to my brothers and sisters who have been involved in this effort from the beginning and who are with us here today. Also want to acknowledge the presence of my oldest and dearest friends, Jim and Cheryl Frazier, who braved this Colorado cold. This is a cold day for them. They came from their home in Surprise, Arizona to be with us today. Jim is my former law partner and is a retired district court judge from Pueblo County. And if you like the music that was playing as you came in, that's from a playlist that Jim put together for this occasion. When people are at my house, I always have a playlist on, and I always get compliments of the music, and that's because I'm playing Jim's playlist. So if you're on Spotify, just go to Lefty Jim, and all of those playlists are really good playlists. And I want to thank my former partners and associates at Gradisar and staff at Gradisar, Trechter, Ripburger, and Roth for their support in the campaign and for all that they will do to help me as I transition to this new role. 10 days as a transition period to close up the law practice is less than ideal, and I'm most appreciative for the work and their continuing support that they're going to do. And finally, and last but not least, I want to thank my partner, Jan Pullen, for sharing this journey with me. At first, reluctantly, but eventually wholeheartedly. So I've lost count of the number of forums and events that I've been to during the last year that this campaign's been going on. But what I do remember at each of them is that there was somebody in the front row and they had a card. They were the timekeeper, and they had a card that held up a sign that said stop. So as the mayor-elect, I made sure that person's not in this room. But I'm not going to, I'll try today not to abuse that privilege. So we gather here today to begin a new chapter in the history of Pueblo. Pueblo has a proud history. No other city can claim that they built the American West. People immigrated to Pueblo from all over the world to make the steel that was used to build the American West. As a result of that immigration, we are a community of many cultures, each with their distinct practices, but all are American. As a result of that melting pot and people coming from all over the world, we're a tolerant community. The history of Pueblo is the history of my family. My grandparents immigrated from Austria and Yugoslavia in the early 1900s. My grandfather made steel, my dad made steel, and during summers at Southern Colorado State College, I made steel. As part of my mom's training to be a registered nurse, she had an internship at the Colorado State Hospital, which is how she got to Pueblo and met my father. So my family is deeply connected to the institutions that are rooted in Pueblo. And that transition of immigrants in Pueblo continues, that tradition. During the campaign, Steve and I both were invited to appear before a forum of a group of Asian Americans living in Pueblo. Our remarks and their questions at that forum had to be translated because most of the attendees, many of whom were older, spoke Korean as their primary language. And I imagine that that's how it was for my grandparents 100 years ago when they came into this country speaking only Slovenian. That is the history of Pueblo. I want to take just a moment to compliment Steve Naraki on his hard-fought campaign and his commitment to and service to the city of Pueblo and the offers of support that he's given to me as we move forward with this process. I wish nothing but the best for he and his wife Angela as in the future. So as we begin this new chapter in the history of Pueblo, our number one priority must be to increase the economic activity in Pueblo. We're going to have to do that by aggressively attracting new businesses and recruiting new businesses, by supporting our local entrepreneurs and small businesses, and by promoting Pueblo to tourists and outdoor enthusiasts. We need to make it easier to do business in Pueblo. I've proposed an ombudsman in the mayor's office who can help businesses and citizens negotiate some of the labyrinth of rules and regulations that can sometimes make it difficult for individuals to start a business. We need to streamline the business licensing practice and process, and we need to review zoning and building codes that may create barriers and implement a customer-friendly environment. And I pledge to you that we'll work on those things and do that in the city of Pueblo. Our goal in Pueblo should be an economy where every young person who wants to remain in Pueblo is able to do so. And they'll be able to find a good job that is sufficient for them to raise their families. No young person should have to leave Pueblo in order to earn a living. That should be our goal in this community. And nothing is more important to the future of Pueblo and its economic development efforts than our public school system. And while Pueblo City Schools is governed by an independently elected board, they are not solely responsible for the success of the system. All of us, as parents, grandparents, business owners, and taxpayers, have an obligation to get engaged so that we have a world-class educational system. We need that world-class educational system, not for our own kids that are here, so that they can be highly trained and educated to become members of the workforce, but also because a world-class educational system is critical to people and businesses that are looking to move to Pueblo. Many of the problems being experienced by Pueblo City schools are directly related to the lack of economic activity in Pueblo and our failure to grow. The problems we face in public education will not be solved by relitigating the grievances of the past, but by getting engaged in the formulation of a plan that reflects the best judgment of the community. I will work with the elected Board of Education and the entire community, parents, students, teachers, and the business community, on a plan that the community will support to improve our schools. Street repairs are always a top priority for Puebloans when they are surveyed. We'll finally begin collecting money to implement the street repair utility enterprise that was approved by the voters in November of 2017. The amount collected won't allow us to fix all the streets, but it is a start, and I intend to work with the City Council to make that program successful. I expect that during this first year of my administration, much time and energy will be given to our supply of electricity. As you know, the Pueblo City Council has established a commission to study terminating the franchise agreement with Black Hills Energy. The first phase of that study has been completed, and a decision will have to be made about proceeding to the next stage. That will not be without significant cost. If I learned anything from the community during the last year, it's that the community believes that our current energy rates are not sustainable. The rates have hindered our economic development efforts and have caused untold hardships to our citizens and residents. Whether municipalization of our electric supply at this time is the answer remains to be seen. I'm convinced that if we municipalize the electric system, our energy rates will go down. That's what's happened in other communities that have gone from an investor-owned utility to a publicly owned utility. But I believe that if we're going to take an off-ramp with respect to Black Hills, we need to have a plan for an on-ramp to a better system. I'm committed to seeking a solution to this problem that will be in the best interests of Pueblo, that will support our economic development efforts, and that will meet our goal of 100% renewable energy by 2035. So these challenges and more are what we'll be concentrating on in the immediate future. I'm not naive enough to believe that this change in our system of government that we embark on today will be a panacea and that all our challenges will go away. It will take all of us engaged and working together to make Pueblo the kind of city we want it to be. At my request, the city just created a new way to volunteer for committees and boards and commissions for the mayor's office. If you go to the city's website, www.pueblo.us, there's a banner at the top, and one of the questions is you can click on is how do I? You click on how do I, and a menu will drop down that says how do I volunteer? And you'll click on that volunteer and you'll see three choices. The first of which is a citizens committee for the mayor's office. Help us make Pueblo better. Volunteer your time. Get engaged. When you sign up, the information will come right directly to the mayor's office, and we'll get you involved in working on the problems that face this community. Let me close by admitting that I don't pretend to have all the answers to the problems that we face as a community, but I promise you this: I'll work hard each and every day moving Pueblo forward, and I'll make sure the city staff is working hard each and every day to move this community forward. As a Puebloan, I believe now, more than I ever have, that we can do anything that we want to do if we set our minds to it. It won't be easy, it'll be hard, and we'll make mistakes, but we will persist, because at the end of the day, we're making Pueblo better, and we're making Pueblo what we want it to be for Oscar and for Graylin and for all our children and grandchildren, just as our ancestors did when they came to Pueblo from all over the world. Pueblo has a bright future. Let's get started. Thank you.
Thank you for attending. That closes our ceremony. Thank you all for being here. And like I tell Nick, let's get to work.